And welcome to the Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for joining us. Our number today, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. We want to hear from you if you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, comments, success stories, or if you want to just contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Alan Leica will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls our second segment. Dr. Alan Leica will be with us at the bottom of the hour. He's written a very interesting and very inspiring book, which I finished reading last night, actually. It's called The 13 Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. Actually, it's called The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. Discover the 13 golden pearls within. He's got 13 secrets. They're not really secrets. They're pretty common sense when you think about them, and he describes them real neatly. Dr. Leica is a cosmetic dermatologist who was diagnosed with ALS, and he didn't cure himself, but he treated himself using mental strategies, psychological strategies, if you will. And I just love people who take care of their own business, their own health business, using metaphysical and mental and emotional strategies. And Dr. Leica, along with a former model named Harriet Tinka, has written a very inspiring book, The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. We'll talk to Dr. Leica at the bottom of the hour, and we'll get your calls in our second segment, 844-236-6010. We would love to hear from you. I'd especially love to hear from you. Love to hear about how you're dealing with this corona crazy time that we're living in. Although now a lot of areas around the country are going back to work. Although I just did read that in California, in Los Angeles, they want to continue shelter in place for another 3 months. This is just absolute craziness. And as crazy as our political leaders and our health leaders, as crazy as their strategies for dealing with this coronavirus is, what's really crazy to me is that we accept the baloney. Not present company excluded, of course, but the masses of Americans, the masses of citizens around the world just accept this absolute scientific nonsense, gobbledygook, non-scientific nonsense. There's nothing scientific about what's going on today. There's nothing scientific about how we're addressing this. There's nothing scientific about about the supposed cause of this supposed virus. There's nothing scientific about this at all, and it just stuns me how the absolute ignorance of the masses of human beings to buy into this craziness, this stupidity. In any case, I don't want to be negative here. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase longevity products, head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470. We also encourage you to sign up to join the Brightside Ben team. Love to have you as a member of the team. If you want to start a business, if you want to start a health business, if you're interested in health, if health and nutrition if nutritional supplementation has helped you with your health, and you want to pay it forward, and you want to make some money, and you want to be financially independent, and you want to help people, call 866-735-2470. You owe it to yourself and your family and your loved ones to at least look into the business opportunity. Call 866-735-2470. Or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls in our second segment. Dr. Alan Leica will be talking to us about his book, The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life, in our next segment. I want to continue talking about what I call, my top 10 longevity products every day. I did a seminar this past weekend, a webinar this past weekend with Tom Chenault and Dr. Joanne Conaway and Richard Brenton and Sanjeev Javia and Dr. Luis Ariaza and a whole bunch of other folks, Dr. Glidden. We all talked about our perspectives about the longevity product and the longevity business. And I talked about my top 10 favorite products, my top 10 favorite longevity products. Yesterday we talked about niacin. I forgot to mention that niacin also has powerful immune boosting properties. It's actually antiviral, which is relevant. Niacin comes in various forms. The ultimate niacin from longevity is 500 milligrams of regular niacin, but there's also non-flush niacin for folks who are prone towards flushing, niacinamide. Niacin and niacinamide are basically the same. Niacin probably has a little bit more blood properties, blood cleansing properties, vasodilation properties, which accounts for the flushing effect. Niacinamide is a no-flush niacin. It doesn't have the same kind of cholesterol-lowering benefits that niacin has, but it could be used for skin health, and that's one of the really great benefits of niacin, is for helping folks deal with acne or hyperpigmentation hyperpigmentation or dark spots. Niacin in general is a stress management vitamin. It upregulates. It's an epigenetic factor. It's an epigenetic vitamin. It upregulates genes that are associated with stress management. It's involved in how cells produce energy. There's a multi-level company out called, I forgot the name of it, I think it's called Elysium, that has been marketing their NAD and NAD plus. You may have heard of NAD, NADH, NAD plus. It's been in the news, and it's been marketed now probably about 3 or 4 years that I've been hearing about it. I get questions about NAD and NAD plus a lot. NAD is basically a form of niacin. It's a derivative, we'll say, of niacin, and you can make your own NAD and NAD plus by making sure that you're supplementing with niacin. Deficiencies in niacin cause a disease called pellagra, which is associated with the 4 Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and death. And yes, niacin deficiency, complete niacin deficiency, will kill you, which is one of the all-time great reasons to take niacin as a supplement. Find niacin, by the way, in high-protein foods, but just supplement with the ultimate niacin. Make sure that you're getting enough niacin. And whenever you take one of the B vitamins, vitamin B3 in the case of niacin, you always want to make sure you're taking all the B complex with it. So today I want to talk about another one of my favorite longevity products, which is the Fucoid Z, or Fucoid Z, or also Z Radical, which is a liquid form. I like the Fucoid Z because it's a capsule, so you get more bang for your buck. You get more medicinal value. Fucoidin is a wonderful immune-boosting ingredient. It's found in algae. It's a saccharide or sugar-like molecule, and it's got immune-boosting properties, and indeed the Z Radical and the Fucoid Z are marketed that way as immune boosters. But it turns out that Fucoidin is also a blood thinner, and therein lies the super-duper multifunctionality. Remember, I love multifunctionality when it comes to nutritional supplements, and the fact that Fucoidin helps thin the blood makes it an amazingly multifunctional supplement. It's also completely non-toxic. You can take as much of the Fucoid Z as you want, and the fact that it thins the blood means that you're going to get more nutrition, and you're going to get more oxygen, and you're going to get more detoxification. Nutrition is, of course, delivered through the blood, so as as blood moves through the body with greater and greater facility, that means more nutrition to cells. As blood moves with greater facility throughout the body, more oxygen to cells, and, of course, detoxification as well. And this is especially important for folks who are dealing with cognitive issues, because so much of the blood is diverted to the brain. When the blood doesn't move as well as it should, all the cells of the body suffer, but especially the brain. So even though Fucoid is not marketed as a cognitive enhancing supplement, indeed, when you understand the mechanism, you'll see that if you're dealing with dementia or cognitive decline issues as you age, using blood thinning, or I don't want to say blood thinning, but nutrients that help support the flow of blood can help you with brain health, cognitive health. And that's where the Fucoid Z comes in. Use the Fucoid Z if you can. The Z Radical is tasty, more appropriate for children, but the Fucoid Z is more economical, and you get more medicinal bang for your buck. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We shall take a break and be back right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls in a moment. We've got Dr. Alan Laika coming up at the bottom of the hour. His book is The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life, the 13 Golden Pearls Within. He's written it with a gal named Harriet Tinka. Dr. Laika is a physician, a cosmetic dermatologist, actually, and he was diagnosed with ALS, and he dealt with it metaphysically. He dealt with it using, and by metaphysics, I'm not talking about anything woo-woo. I'm just talking about things that are more abstract than just ordinary physics. Things like love, things like intention, things like attitude, things like empowerment. These are some of the 13 golden pearls Dr. Laika talks about in his book, The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life, and we'll talk to him in the bottom of the hour. I love inspiring stories from people who have actually lived through adversity themselves. We can learn so much from people who have conquered adversity on their own, especially when they're willing to share, like Dr. Laika and Harriet Tinka are. We'll talk to him in the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls here in just a moment. Let me just finish talking about Fucoidin, Fucoid Z. Fucoidin is a natural substance that's found in the cell walls of certain seaweed. Seaweed is amazingly powerful food. it's so interesting to me how the most abundant things on the planet are some of the most powerful medicine. Beta-glucan, we talked about a couple of days ago, is abundant, and it's one of the most abundant substances on the planet, and it's super duper powerful. Seaweed and the components in seaweed are abundant, and they make super powerful medicine. Fucoidan is a polysaccharide, a complex sugar, but it has a little piece of sulfur associated with it. Scientists call it a sulfated polysaccharide. So it's a source of sulfur, which is, of course, very important. And it also has wonderful immune-boosting properties. It's used, if you do a Google search on fucoidan, you're going to see a lot of stuff about cancer, because that's really what it's most known for. But fucoidan also helps mobilize stem cells in addition to helping fight cancer. It also boosts the immune system. It's got wonderful anti-aging properties by working on a certain enzyme system that we haven't really talked about. It's an enzyme system that we've only known about for about 20 or 25 years called the sirtuin, S-I-R-T-U-I-N enzyme system. There's various sirtuin enzymes that influence a wide range of various cellular functions, and it's especially important for aging. Sirtuin is an epigenetic factor. Niacin supports sirtuin, and that's one of the reasons why niacin has got wonderful anti-aging properties. But it turns out that fucoidan also activates sirtuins, and that makes it a very important pro-longevity substance, fucoidan. That makes fucoidan very important for helping stabilize the genome, the genetics. It also makes fucoidan important for sugar metabolism. There's all kinds of multifunctional benefits that you get from the Fucoid Z above and beyond what it's being marketed for and what most people know it is for cancer patients. Fucoidan also via the sirtuin connection is also important for dermatology and for skin health. Sirtuins play a role in keeping the skin beautiful and healthy and fighting wrinkles and fighting some of the signs of photo damage and photo aging. And Fucoidan also helps build connective tissue, so it's important for bone health in addition to being important for helping keep the skin wrinkle-free and youthful. How's that for multifunctionality? All in a non-toxic form that you can take as much of as you want. That's the Fucoid Z from Youngevity, or the liquid form, which is a little bit sweet and has a little bit less fucoidan value, but it's really good, a nice little tonic, and it's also great for kids, called the Z Radical and Fucoid Z. That's another one of my all-time favorite Youngevity products. We'll continue talking about my top 10 in no particular order except for number 1, which is definitely number 1, Youngevity products in the coming Bright Side episodes. We got Dr. Leica coming up at the bottom of the hour, and we'll take your phone calls right now, 844-236-6010. Let's go to Florida and say good morning to our friend Grace. What is up, Grace? How are you? Amazing Grace.
Good morning, Pharmacist Ben. Thank you. I was just calling. First of all, thank you for all these guests that you've been having. It's been very interesting to listen to them. You are not speaking alone out to here.
I love it. Thank you, Grace. I appreciate that.
I just wanted to, when you were talking yesterday about, how frightened everybody is, really amazing. It really, really, they are frightened. And I remember you were commenting, I think, about Nextdoor, that little website.
Yeah.
In March, in the end of March, I was posting like alternative information on there so people wouldn't be so frightened.
Yeah.
And I was taken down.
Unbelievable.
I was taken down for a month. Yes. Because
unbelievable. But on the other hand, if you frighten people, that would be cool. Yes. If you put scary stuff on there. Isn't that amazing? What do you do in a world like this where up is down and down is up? How do you handle that?
Oh, you pray. First of all.
Yeah, you pray. That's good. That's good.
I pray, and it's funny because in the beginning I was calling actually the mayor of Miami-Dade County and asking them, where did they get their constitutional authority to lock us down? Because we didn't consent to this. And, they were actually asking each other, and I'm like, wait a second. Don't tell me that I'm the only person that has called you and asked you this question.
Yeah?
Because
were you?
Yes, I was the only one.
Oh. And you live in Miami? Are you in Miami?
I live in Miami Beach.
Miami Beach. Okay.
Yes, and they locked us down at the end, not from the beginning, but it's still, I was like, without a shot fired, everybody just did what they were told. It was unbelievable.
Shocking. Without a shot fired. Unbelievable. Yes. Now, are you out? Are you allowed out of the house now?
I've been going outside of the house every day. I don't care what they tell me.
You troublemaker, you. You're a troublemaker.
My mother used to always tell me that. You're a rebel without a cause. I'm like, no.
No, you have a cause. You have a cause. Freedom and human liberty.
Exactly.
That's your cause. Yeah, you have a cause.
Exactly.
Right.
Imagine, with your information, I was helping her. And totally alternative. So, that's very hard to do, but thank you.
Good for you, Grace. Keep up the good work. We need you on the team.
You do.
Thank you so much.
You keep it
and
up.
I will
Thank
too.
Thank you so much. We love you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, I love that. Love hearing people who are free thinkers, critical thinkers, scientific thinkers, who examine what goes for the central dogma. By the way, dogma means when you accept something because you're told it. And that's what this is all about. This is all about dogma, medical dogma. And anybody who perpetuates medical dogma, especially medical professionals, like the doctor who shall not be named, because I just don't want to mention his name, the creepy little man who was testifying yesterday how we all have to be scared and we're going to have more death and disease and suffering if we don't stay in the house. All of this stuff falls under the umbrella of dogma, in the sense that none of it is scientific. There is no evidence for any of this stuff, and it's just a belief system that we have taken on because we're told. Not present company excluded, of course, but the masses have taken on this belief system simply because they have been told. You don't want to live your life living truths or believing truths that whose only evidence is somebody in authority told you that they're true. All right. 844-236-6010 is our number. Good morning, Phil. Welcome to the Bright Side.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, but we only have about a minute, so speak up.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
We have a son who's been experiencing really bad nightmares.
A son, did you say? Your son?
He's been experiencing really severe nightmares.
How old? How old is he?
He's in year 60.
Oh, I thought you said son. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's the deal with nightmares. And I've been studying dreams for many years, by the way. We dream based on what we think about during the day. Now, sometimes what we think about during the day is unconscious. In other words, our thought processes. We're not aware of our thought processes, but you can't control them at night, so they come out. Nightmares are very, very interesting, and they're not all bad necessarily. But we're out of time, Phil. I wonder if you could call back tomorrow, because I'd love to talk about the subject. It's very fascinating. Dreams and nightmares are really, really interesting. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thank you for being here. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. We also have a search engine up at benfuchsarchive.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that up. You can check out our longevity products at criticalhealthnews.com, brightsideben.com, and pharmacistben.com. We got news stories, blog posts, videos, lots of free health information, good health information. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, truthtreatments.com, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone oil, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want, all formulated to heal wounds and prevent scars. And as it turns out, healing is beauty. So when you use a product that helps heal the skin, you will also beautify the skin. And that is the secret. Check out all our True Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. I am really excited to have our next guest on. Dr. Alan Leica is the author of a super cool book called The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. And Dr. Leica is he's not just writing a book, he's telling you his story, how he's conquered adversity. And I love hearing people's stories, people who have conquered. Adversity is just something that happens in life. Life is filled with ups and downs, vicissitudes, and how we deal with them, how we respond to them is important. And Dr. Leica has written a book about 13 strategies that you can use. He calls them 13 golden pearls to have a fantastic life. And I imagine he's used them himself. He'll tell you his story. Please welcome to the bright side, Dr. Alan Leica. Hey, Doc.
Well, thank you for having me. It's such a delight to be on your show, and it's always a pleasure to share some of my wisdom and knowledge that I've gleaned over the years.
Well, you shared it quite exquisitely and quite elegantly in your book, which I read last night. Well, I finished it last night. I've been reading it for the last few days. And I love the story because you are not just writing a book, you're telling your story. So why don't you jump right in and tell us about your diagnosis and how you dealt with it, and then we'll talk about some of these golden pearls.
Sure. Well, I was actually in Disney World walking with my dear wife, and she turned to me at the end of a long, hot, steamy day and said, "What's wrong with you, hon?" For once I hadn't done anything wrong. I hadn't even thought anything wrong. So I was kind of perplexed. And she said, really, there's something wrong with you. And I said, what? She said, your foot is flapping. Well, that was a little bizarre. But, at the end of the day, when I looked at it very carefully, my foot was flapping against the pavement. It had suddenly developed, I had suddenly developed a right foot drop, and my foot wasn't working right. And she said to me, when we get back, you better get this checked out. And when your wife tells you that, you better get it checked out if you know what's good for you. So when I got back, I had a very test known to man. I had CAT scans, I had brain scans, I had scans. And you know what they showed at the end of the day? Absolutely nothing. They thought I had a slipped disc, they thought I had a brain tumor, but there was nothing on these tests. So I went through even more tests and more tests and more tests. Then I headed up to see one of the world's best neurologists. A neurologist is a nerve specialist. And if anybody would have the answer, he would. So I walked in and he said, Dr. Leica, you better be sitting down when I tell you this. I said, what do you mean sitting down? He said, I just have a right foot, I said. He said, no, you have ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Get your affairs in order. In 6 months, you're going to be dead.
Oh, my gosh.
This was 2003. And, I was mortified. I turned to him, I said, can you prove this diagnosis? He said, of course, on autopsy.
How old were you, Doc? How old were you at the time?
I was in my early 50s. I was
wow.
at the prime of my career. I was really, really doing the best work I'd ever done. And it was amazing what I was doing with scars and everything else. And, this hit me like anything, like a rock falling on my head. It was like an avalanche. It was terrible. And so I started looking around. When you go through something like this, you look for the answers. You look for real answers. And you go through a lot. You go through anger. You go through denial. You go through bargaining. You go through depression. And all of these emotions come at you at once, and they literally hit you all in the face. But, a smart person really doesn't just accept things. They look to see if it's true. And I then found something on the Internet. The Internet was a very primitive thing back then. It was hardly visible. And I found an answer from a Dr. David Martz in Colorado Springs, Colorado, who had gone through exactly the same things I did, but progressed much more rapidly until he was on his deathbed. He could hardly lift his head from a pillow. And a doctor from Texas came up and saw David and said, David, there's something wrong with this picture. You don't have ALS. You have Lou Gehrig's disease. You don't have Lou Gehrig's disease. You have something called chronic Lyme's disease. Chronic Lyme's disease is a bite of a tick, and it mimics so many illnesses. It's crazy. So I knew I had to get in touch with David, and I knew that at that point that he might have some answers for me. So after talking to him, he got me down to Colorado Springs, Colorado. We talked for hours. He literally said history is repeating itself, and we knew if we treated this, I'd get better. So for the next 16 years, I maintained my status as one of the top cosmetic doctors in North America, and I continued to do everything, so I overcame adversity. But what's more important than that is when you go through something like this, you look for answers. You look for pieces. You look for golden pearls that can help yourself and others. So either you turn to the darkness where you realize you have a second chance. You have been gifted, that you finally know that there's answers for you, and you can share those answers with others without the pain and suffering that you've gone through.
So are you going to sit here and tell me that your diagnosis, your chronic Lyme's disease and your flapping foot, was a good thing?
In retrospect, I have to say it was one of the better things in my life. I have to say that it really helped me become the person I am, and the things that I can do for people now are as a result of that extreme chaotic adversity that I went through. Steel gets hardened by fire.
Yeah.
Pearls are made by irritation in the lining of an oyster, and that oyster walls them off with something called luster. And that luster becomes a golden pearl in a species of pearl called Punctata maxima from the Philippines. So irritation, hardship is what makes us what we are. It's not just the great things in life that makes us what we are. It's the hardships we go through.
And it's also application of these kinds of ideas that turns this from being a platitude into being something really functional. Like you actually doing these things, applying your golden pearls, as you call them.
Well, and I'm very blessed to have done that. For the last 4 years, I've been writing this book called The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. I'm co-authoring it with a beautiful lady by the name of Harriet Tinka, who I met because I was giving an award for the YWCA called the Women of Distinction. And she had a story similar to mine, except while she was going through university, she was kidnapped, stabbed, and left for dead. And as a result of that, she found a common pathway to mine that we share in our book.
So did you have any inkling about these golden pearls before you were sick? Were you heading in that direction, or was this a complete reversal?
You know, when I was sick, I was a person that was obsessed with work. I was a workaholic, and I still am a bit of a workaholic. But basically, I'd work 24 hours a day, 36 on Sunday. I was obsessed by my dream of helping people in cosmetic dermatology, and I was very successful at it.
Hey, Doc,
I did not have an inkling for this. This was a whole different pathway that I had to embark on.
Hang on, Doc. I want to get into the golden pearls. We got to take a quick commercial break. We're talking to Dr. Alan Leica, and his book is the 13 Golden Pearls of Wisdom. Okay, we're back on the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Dr. Alan Leica. His book is The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. Discover the 13 Golden Pearls of 13 Golden Pearls. And then, Dr. Leica, the next word I think is the most important: within. All of these are within us. We have access to them whenever we want. They're ours, correct?
They are, and every one of us can touch on them. Everyone can feel them, but first you have to awaken them. And if you're not listening to yourself, you're never going to awaken them. You're never going to get to the point that you'll understand them and do well with them. And I think that's the key. And I think this is why traumatic events allow us to get to these points, because they allow us to awaken that much easier to them. And, as we speak, the world's going through a traumatic event, which is pretty important. And so that in itself can be a traumatic awakening for a lot of people and be used as a key to success or failure based on how people look at it.
And all things considered, it's a very gentle way. I mean, there's a lot harsher ways, a lot harsher traumatic events. What we're going through now is kind of a gentle, relatively gentle traumatic event, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, somebody sent me a LinkedIn message the other day that our relatives had to go through wars, they had to go through famine, they had to go through all these other terrible things, and we have to sit on our couches. Let's not mess it up this time.
Okay, good. So you have 13 golden pearls, and I'm going to assume that these are in order of importance, although correct me if I'm wrong, but the first one seems like it's the most important one to me. Why don't you talk about a couple of these and definitely talk about golden pearl number one?
I think all the golden pearls are important. I think they're of relevance to everybody. I put them in somewhat of a logical order, and I think love is one of the most important pearls we can have. Why is love so important? Well, it's the semblance of everything that goes on. You can tell people, you can look at a person and actually tell if their mother loved them. You can actually tell if they grew up in an environment of hate and scorn. You can actually, in about 30 seconds, size them up and realize whether love is an important part of their life or not. And there's something unique about love, and it's this. Love is one of the few things you get more of by giving it. So you give love, and you actually get more back. Now, that's a very unique thing in the world, but the only problem with that, the flip side also occurs. If you give hate, you get more of that back as well. So I think at the same time, we have to realize this is a very, very powerful thing. And I truly believe love is stronger than hate. I believe that love is one of the strongest things in our world as long as it's nourished, and I think that nourishment of that is the most important thing.
Now you said something really cool there. How can you look at somebody? What are the signs? What can people look for? Or is it just an intuition?
Well, it's an intuition, but it comes with a lot of things. You know, if a person's really inside their shell and they can't get out of it, they can't communicate and are reluctant to share, I think you have some pretty good signs that that person is not in a loving world and had loving abuse as a child. They really have formed their whole personality around this demon that keeps attacking them.
Is there a universal definition to the word love, or do we all have our own personal definitions of it?
You know, the problem with love is it's not one thing. And in my book, I spell out the 7 types of love that there are. The ancient Greeks actually found 7 different types of love. So when we talk about love between a man and a woman. We also talk about love from other things that go on, and, like self-love. So all these things are very important, and all these things are really, really important in that way. But I think what's more important is people find love and learn how it should be in their lives.
Okay, now I want to talk. I want you to pick your. We can't go over all 13 pearls, and I want you to pick your favorites. But my favorite is inspiration, golden pearl number 2. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
You know, inspiration is a very important word. The word inspiration itself, I want to go into for a second. It means breath. It means life. It means force inside of you. So when you have inspiration, it really is a fresh breath inside of you. Now think of the power of that. Think of the power of a fresh breath to carry you to the next level. That's why it's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, we had a guest on yesterday who talked about a distinction between motivation and inspiration. And he said motivation is short-term, but inspiration is long-term. Like you can.
Yes, and that's why it's got to come inside of you. You can take inspiration from other things. You can definitely make your inspiration stronger from other things. Watching movies, podcasts, radio shows, you can get a breath, but it must be internalized to be that inspiration that carries you through life.
Now, one of your pearls is really interesting, and it's also very counterintuitive. It's vulnerability. Tell us about that.
You know, vulnerability is one of those hardships. None of us like to be vulnerable. None of us like to be naked in front of the world. None of us like to bare our bones to the world. But, you know, it's vulnerability that allows us to be successful. It's vulnerability that allows us to get to another level. Let's suppose you're running a race. Well, to run a race, you have to put everything on the line. You really have to put it all out there. Otherwise, you're not going to win. Now, if you're not willing to be vulnerable and risk the chance of losing, you can never win a race. It's the same thing with the race of life. If you're not willing to take the chance of being in it, you can't win. And what about love, the other concept we just talked about? Well, isn't that the case there? If you're not willing to be in a relationship with others, bare your souls to speak, you can never truly be in love. You can never get the benefits of love.
Do you think that's why people have such a problem with love or finding somebody to love? I mean, it seems like that's a universal dilemma. People finding somebody to love, or I want to be in love. It's because of a lack of willingness to be vulnerable?
I think that's part of it, but I think it also comes from the hurt that we've had and things gone by. I think all of us have been hurt emotionally on many levels, and we must get over that. We must become over the top of that. And that's where I think my 13 Golden Pearls can come in, and my story of victory over death, and my story of survivalship. And I want to emphasize it wasn't the death experience I went through, but the survivalship that I went through, that overcoming adversity is the most important equation that I'm putting into my book.
Now, tell us, we only have a couple minutes here, and I want you to get into some of your favorites here, but tell us about the butterfly real quick.
You know, the butterfly is about struggle. It's about surviving. And, you know, a butterfly starts as a cocoon, and it has to go through that cocoon and go and struggle to get out of it to become a beautiful butterfly. Now, if you help that cocoon get out, that cocoon no longer is the beautiful butterfly. It comes out deformed. It comes out that in a difficult way. So it's the struggle that makes us better, just like with a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. It's the struggle that helps us to achieve the better life. So although I don't like failure, although I don't like hardship, remember those are the things that make us stronger and better.
So what about, it seems like in our world today we try to protect everybody. We try to protect our children. The government tries to protect us. We're always protecting against struggle. So we're depriving ourselves of being a butterfly.
Well, that's true. And you know, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey along the way. You really have to go through the journey. You know, when a tree survives a very bad tornado, it's usually because it has a very, very strong root structure that has been formed over years, and it's integrated with everything in its environment. So it's got a very, very deep root structure. So it can't be uprooted. It can't be damaged by the storm that comes out. And that's what I encourage everybody to do, is to form a big root structure so that they can be resistant to the elements that are out there.
Does the root structure have to do with how we relate to each other?
Yes. I think the important part of the world right now is relations, and even though we're in our own cocoons these days, we're social isolating. I think it's very important to even reach out and form more relationships. And I'm going to put a challenge to all your listeners out there, and I would like them to reach out and do something for somebody else today that they wouldn't regularly do. I want them to pay it forward. I want them to really do something that's going to make a difference in somebody else's life. Now, that could be a contribution to a food bank. It could be calling somebody you haven't done for years and just ask them how they're doing. It could be to mend some fences that you had with somebody that you had some hardship with. I think it should be something that you do at a very fundamental level that you would not regularly do. But I'll guarantee in everybody's life there's a million things like that.
Wow. You know, we're out of time, Doc. I wanted you to tell me some of your favorites in the book, but people just have to read it for themselves. The book is called The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. Dr. Leica, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your good work. Really appreciate it.
And reach out to www.fantasticlifebook.com. That's where you can get it.
fantasticlifebook.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Leica. We'll talk again. Thank you. Have a great day. That was Dr. Alan Leica. The book is The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. Super cool book. Easy to read. 13 golden pearls of wisdom within. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. Don't forget to check out our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for all the longevity products, and truthtreatments.com for our Truth Skin Health products. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye for now.